Well, here we are again, Andy. Although, strictly speaking, I'm enjoying the sunshine here in a lovely square in Venice.
It looks absolutely wonderful. So you managed to
Yeah,
get
no,
a
it's quite nice.
going.
Yeah, a little coffee here, a little bit of espresso, and you know, what's not to like. Meanwhile, you're still stuck in the Middle Street Resource Centre with that lot behind you. Anyway, we're at week 16.
We
Incredible, isn't
certainly
it,
are.
really?
And it's
Amazing.
we've got a great lineup this week. One or two original songs coming in, and
That's right, but we mustn't forget to mention that fantastic music that we've just listened to coming into the show, performed by Keith Hinchliffe. His arrangements of all sorts of things. It's a fabulous sound, isn't it? I've been listening to it on the headphones, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah. That Carolan guitar and his playing is so vibrant, and
Yeah,
mostly his own compositions, arrangements with one Carolan tune in there.
Yeah, nice, very very nice indeed. And there's a little bit more at the end when we play out with the credits. So anyway, this week we've got you and Dave starting off with an old song from the 40s.
That's it.
You probably you learnt in your youth, did you learn that one? Anyway.
Well, I actually grew up with, yes.
Oh, wonderful stuff.
And then we've got Joe Sempik, who is performing one of his own songs, something to do with Coalman and blues.
Oh, right. Well, we had coal miners last week, didn't we?
Yeah.
Helen and Chris next with a very well-known song. You'll be all singing along at home to this one, I've no doubt.
And then we welcome back Alisa Russell playing a harp, and she is actually doing an Carolan number.
Okay, good. We wouldn't want Carolan to be missed out. We love his music. And then, of course, we've reached the feature, and this week Paul Mansfield's going to be talking a bit about field recording in the folk world. That's quite interesting.
Yeah. And then James Minns is doing a number by Mandolin Orange. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't. No. Is that a hymn or as a group, or I don't know. Anyway, that'd be fascinating. You don't come here just to be entertained, do you? Who have we got after that? That's James. Oban comes up next with another one of his original songs, which he's making a habit of writing his own songs, and this is one we've heard him do at the club about a folk club, not ours though.
Good song.
Yeah.
And then we've got Elaine into French traditional folk songs, one that you'll all know.
Oh yeah, they'll be singing along and strumming along with this one. And we finish with our second guests, who are a group who have visited us a couple of times before, Higgs Bosun, and they are also doing an original song written by Norman Randall, one of their number.
Yeah, and it's about trains.
Yeah, okay.
And it's
Shall
a real
start another
stomping.
Yeah, let's start another theme, shall we? Nothing else about trains this week, I don't think. Anyway, let's get John and Dave in here, and we'll talk a little bit about the song you're going to start us off with.
Okay.
Well, here we are again with Andy and Dave, who are kicking off the show this week. And John, I think you're going to ask Dave about the song.
Yes, I gather it's a song from the Ink Spots, Dave, who those of our generation and just below will remember them as a popular group in the 50s and perhaps early 60s. It's from the Ink Spots, and it's the Jive, is it?
It is indeed the Jive, John, and it betrays our age when you refer to a popular group. They wrote this song just before the war and just before Pearl Harbor. Well, a bit before Pearl Harbor, but there's a reference to the Japanese in it when they sing, "Hush, Mr. Moto, I'm a coffee shop." So they even then they were getting a little bit worried about the Japs and what might be brewing, and it wasn't it? Anyway, this is a tricky little song, but Andy and I have abused it thoroughly, and I hope you'll enjoy it.
Right, well, Andy, come on, tell us a bit about how you've abused it, as you put it. What have you done this time to demonstrate your video making skills?
Well, it's a bit of a headbanger for me because first of all, it involves more than 3 chords. In fact, probably at least 3 times 3 chords. So there's been that challenge to master that sequence. And I think, Dave, you've had quite a go with the bass part, haven't you? It's been a bit of a knee-jerker there.
Well, I was all right until you started listening to it.
But the video is giving me the excuse to take my skills on from being non-existent to trying to mix about 14 different parts in about 30 different ways. We've got reverse videos, we've got speeding up and slowing down and animals and all sorts of things. So.
It all sounds too technical for me. I shall stick to the 3 chords or 4 chords I can get away with. I shall sing along with you, and I'll do a bit of hand drive.
Oh, good. Very good, yeah. Well, I think the musical quality might suffer a bit, but anyway.
You can often get away with less than 9 chords if you're basic like me.
9? Does anybody know 9 chords?
Andy's going to play. Andy said going to play about 9 chords, didn't he?
Okay then.
Okay.
So
I think it's time, after all that, to listen and watch with great anticipation to Andy and Dave's version of Java Jive.
Hooray!
Java Jive and it loves me. Coffee and tea, the Java Jive and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Boy, I love Java, sweet and hot. Whoops, Mr. Moto, I'm a coffee pot. Shoot me the pot and I'll pour me a shot. Well, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Slug from that wonderful mug, and I come here hard, just slug in a jug. A slash of onion and a raw one. Draw one, wait a percolator.
I love coffee, I love tea.
I love the Java Jive and it loves me.
Coffee and tea, Java Jive and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup.
Boston beans, soybeans, green beans, cabbage and greens. Well, I don't care about a bean unless it is a cherry coffee bean. Boy, I love Java, sweet and hot. Whoops, Mr. Moto, I'm a coffee pot. Shoot me the pot and I'll pour me a shot. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Oh, slip me a slug from that wonderful mug, and I'll cut me a rug, just slug in a jug.
For a nickel in the pot, Joe.
I'm taking it slow. Wait a percolator.
I love coffee, I love tea. I love the Java Jive and it loves me. Coffee and tea, the Java Jive and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Boy, I love coffee, I love tea. I love the Java Jive and it loves me. Coffee and tea, the Java Jive and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup. Boy, I love Java, sweet and hot. Whoops, Mr. Moto, I'm a coffee pot. Shoot me the pot and I'll pour me a shot. Well, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup.
The next song is called Coalman Blues by Joshua Barnes Howell, who was better known as Pegleg Howell. He had a fight with his brother-in-law, which ended up him getting shot in the leg, and he ended up with just one leg, and hence Pegleg Howell. Because he was disabled like that, he decided to become a professional musician rather than work on a farm. I first heard this song when I was about 17, and it's always stuck with me. I love the notion of someone getting up in the morning, having some eggs, a nice pork chop, a cheap cigar and a magazine. So I love that bit of it. It was recorded in about 1920s, 1930s. The chorus, people sometimes ask me, what's the chorus about? What are the words about? The chorus is, hard coal and your stove wood man. He's a coal man. He's selling coal, like hard coal, burning coal, and wood for the stove. So here we go, and it's Coalman Blues. Got up this morning, 5 o'clock, got me some eggs and a nice pork chop, cheap cigar and a magazine, had to run fast, get the 5:15, tell you what I seen. Coalman got run over by the 5:15, cut off his arms and he crushed his ribs. Poor man died, now the poor man lived. Hard coal and his stove wood man, hard coal and his stove wood man, hard coal and his stove wood man. Don't gonna get it, gonna burn it myself. Well, tell you what I know. Coalman got run over by the 5:44, cut off his arms and he crushed his head. Poor man died, now the poor man lived. Hard coal and his stove wood man, hard coal and his stove wood man, hard coal and his stove wood man. Don't gonna get it, gonna burn it myself. Well, I sell it to the rich and I sell it to the poor. I sell it to the rich and I sell it to the poor. Sell it to the rich and I sell it to the poor. Sell it to the brown girl at my door. Hard coal and his stove wood man, hard coal and his stove wood man, hard coal and his stove wood man. Don't gonna get it, gonna burn it myself. Well, I got wood in the stove and the match in your hand. Wood in the stove and the match in your hand. Wood in the stove and the match in your hand. Run to the door and get the coal man. Well, hard coal and your stove wood man, hard coal and your stove wood man, hard coal and your stove wood man. Don't gonna get it, gonna burn it myself. Well, hard coal and your stove wood man, hard coal and your stove wood man, hard coal and your stove wood man. Don't gonna get it, gonna burn it myself. Well, I'm going up the country, don't you wanna go? Going up the country, don't you wanna go? I'm going up the country, don't you wanna go? Going up the country, coming back no more. Me, my rider, headed 2 or 3 more. Me, my rider, headed 2 or 3 more. Me, my rider, headed 2 or 3 more. We're going up the country, don't you wanna go? And it's hard coal and your stove wood man, hard coal and your stove wood man, hard coal and your stove wood man. Don't gonna get it, I'm gonna burn it myself. Well, I'm gonna burn it myself.
Helen and Chris, it's great to see you again. And Helen, it's wonderful to see you back on the folk scene. I know you from years back, of course. The Stratton Hotel, yeah. Robin Hood Folk Club. You were wonderfully received in those days. Then you had a long break from it. You came back to it, what, 3 or 4 years ago properly?
That's right. Yeah, yeah. It's probably only a couple of years ago, to be honest. I dabbled with it a few times over the years as the kids were growing up, and been with a couple of dance sides. I was with Elaine Morris, and then obviously I joined Sullivan Sword as well. We've formed little bands and things like that. Chris and Alistair and I, actually, Alistair Bloomfield and I, we had a band when for a little while the kids were young. But I think work and children took the priority in the end, and
absolutely, yeah,
did a bit round about sort of the early 2000s, 2007, 2008 time. Was actually sang at Southall Folk Festival in 2008. But yeah, not really done much until recently. I think my job took over 12 hours a day of my waking hours. So
quite understand that. I bumped into you a few times and said, get back to the club, but I can understand.
You did.
But you, Chris, I know you mainly, or used to know you mainly as one of the dancers in the sword dancing group.
Yeah. I've been dancing with the Sullivan Sword for about 40 years. That's
as long as that.
Yeah. And started doing well at the Carrington Folk Club. Actually, I started going down there as one of the founder members of that club.
Love it. I never knew you were an actual performer. I knew you as a dancer, and I think I saw you occasionally play the flute, but you've really shown your capabilities as a solo performer anyway.
Thanks. Yeah,
but singing together, I think that's fairly new, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We've probably only just started singing songs together since we've been coming back to the second time round club, really. We've not done many together over the last 12 months, but I think the virtual club since lockdown has made us do a lot more. So,
well, it certainly worked very well at the club. We've enjoyed your performances as a duo. I know you still do solo stuff as well. I've still got this CD, Helen, that I think you gave me many, many years ago. And it's great. It's a great CD, actually. And I think one of the songs on there is What You're Doing This Week.
That's right, yes. It's a song that I've sung for years, really. The Water is Wide.
Yeah, it's originally a Scottish song. It's based on lyrics from the 1600s. So it counts as a traditional song. And Cecil Sharp published it in 1906 in his book Songs from Somerset.
Yeah, why Songs from Somerset? I don't know.
That's where he was when he heard somebody sing it, probably.
Yeah.
Indeed. Anyway, it's a great song. We all enjoy joining in with it, so I'm sure they'll do that tonight. And nice talking to you.
And you, John.
Yeah.
We look forward to the song. Helen, Chris, lovely to see you again.
Yeah, thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Bye.
I put my heart A ship there is, she sails the seas, she's Lord at deep, as deep can be, but she's not as deep as the love I'm in. I know not if I sink or swim. Oh, love is handsome, and love is kind, and love's a jewel when first it's new. But as it grows older, it waxes colder and fades away like the morning dew. Oh, the water is wide and I can't get over, and neither have I wings to fly. Give me a boat that'll carry two, and both shall row, my love and I, and both shall row, my love and I, and both shall row, my love and I. The water is wide.
Well, hello again, and thanks ever so much to Helen and Chris. Wasn't that beautiful? Lovely rendering of a very well-known song. And now we come to our first guest of the evening, who's Alisa Russell, playing on her harp. And Andy, I think you know all about this.
Yeah, unfortunately, Elisa's not able to join us today,
Right,
but we've of course seen her down the club a couple of times with her sister Julie, and well, not only is the harp playing great, but Julie's a great singer and also a bread maker. Some of you may have been to Julie's bread making courses,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
some of you may have been singing with Julie in the caves, and I've been one of those lucky enough to do it. Anyway, yeah, I'll tell you a bit about the harp because Alisa sent some details through. The harp that she plays in most of the pieces is called a lever harp, which is a smaller version of the pedal harp, which presumably is what's used in orchestras, which are massive things, aren't they? They're almost sort of 5, 6 foot high.
Not the sort of thing you cart around to folk clubs, I don't think, is it?
No, that's right. But most of her harps, she's got 3, are actually made in America, and in Seattle and Indiana she's had them from. And you can get them in 2 types. I think most of us are 34 nylon strings. She's also plays a gut string one, but she prefers the nylon. And she's also got a harp which is made by Pilgrim Harps in Surrey. So there you go. That's about as I know about harps, but it's a tremendous sound.
And she's playing a piece by our favourite Irish harpist, Carolan, of course.
Yeah.
And I think it's called Carolan's Cottage.
It certainly is. Carolan's Cottage. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, let's have a listen. Beautiful.
Okay.
Well, as we thought, beautiful music from Alisa. Thanks ever so much. And now we've reached the interval, and Andy, we've a couple of things to mention. One, of course, is Vox Jam, which we briefly mentioned last week.
And if you go onto Facebook and in your search bar type in Vox Jam Beeston, you'll come up with a page. And what can you do on the page, Colin?
Well, apparently you can fill in a form if you want to perform, and you can offer to perform live, you can offer to do a video, and you could offer to do a 360-degree video. You need to look into that a bit more.
Yeah.
But you may not want to perform at all. You may just want to watch. So please stick it in your diary. There'll be a special Folk Beeston on Friday the 7th, and the Vox Jam Festival itself is next day, Saturday, the 8th of August. So stick it in your diary and look out for more information. I think you've sent out an email to our regulars as well, haven't you, Andy?
It's on my to-do list. It'll be going out shortly, yes.
Okay, so they'll have had it by now. They'll have had it by the time they see this apparently live recording.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm going to see if I can make it back from Venice. But in the meantime, they can all watch Paul Mansfield's feature, which is just coming up, isn't it?
It is, yep, on Field Recordings. But just before we do that, just to mention Green and Matthews.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Because Green and Matthews are doing another concert at the end of July, but it's a request concert. So if you want to feed in your requests, go to their Facebook page and you can put in what you'd like to hear.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you just want to listen to them, you can go there then. Anyway, back to Paul and the feature.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's Show and Tell, which is titled The Joy of Source, by which I mean source singers, source recordings, community musicians prior to the advent of the folk clubs being recorded live in their natural environment, field recordings as they're sometimes referred to. So I'm going to start with an example of an instrumental album. On Topic Records, this is English country music, recorded in East Anglia in January 1960 at the house of Walter and Daisy Bulwer, with the added involvement of several other veteran East Anglian traditional musicians. Probably not what would normally happen, actually. They wouldn't have all been round Walter and Daisy's house. So a kind of slight detraction from the authenticity, perhaps. But this was a very important album for me because at the time I was used to listening to expensively engineered records by the likes of Pink Floyd, and to suddenly be confronted with these domestic recordings with the background noise, the noise of the clock, the odd wrong notes, this sort of thing. It was a completely different way of listening to music and a different way of appreciating music. It had a big effect on me. And the other thing about English country music, the Topic LP, is that it was a very good representation of the Southern English and East Anglian instrumental tradition, in the sense that there were some well-known tunes on there, but also some unknown ones from Walter Bulwer's own repertoire, which have now gone into the tradition under titles like Walter Bulwer's Polka No. 1. So the LP in itself influenced the tradition. Very interesting, I think. So I'll move on to a vocal example. So this is a CD that I've bought much more recently, a few years back now. It's on Veteran Records out of Stowmarket in Suffolk. The Fox and the Hare, Harry Green and other Essex singers. So no surprise I've gone for the same part of the country again. I could run down the tracks on the back of this particular CD, but boy, would it be a giveaway of where a lot of my repertoire comes from, because I've taken a number of numbers from this particular CD. I like to have the Essex versions of the songs, even though these recordings were made in the northwest and the northeast part of the county rather than London, Essex, where I come from. So Topic and Veteran, two really important record labels in this regard. And there's one more over here. So this is Musical Traditions, the Harry Upton album. So Musical Traditions, as many on the trad scene will know, is a very interesting website. Harry Upton's the singer I got Jerusalem Cuckoo or I Am a Donkey Driver from, though not from this particular CD, it was from an earlier Topic recording. So I think people like Topic, Veteran and Musical Traditions have added a lot to our knowledge of community music making, amateur music making in the years particularly before the folk revival or during the early part of the folk revival. And not all of these people subsequently became involved in the folk scene. They wouldn't necessarily see folk clubs as being anything to do with them. Folk clubs being a new invented tradition, if you like, in the late 50s and early 60s. But certainly, if you're interested in what music making was like some years ago, and you also want to listen to some interesting repertoire and perhaps use some of it yourself, these kind of recordings are really, really worth getting hold of, in my opinion. So that's my show and tell. I hope you found some of it interesting, and thank you for listening.
This is a song by Mandolin Orange, and it's called Golden Embers. It was written by their lead singer, Andrew Marlin, at a time when he lost his mother, and apparently his father was unable to cope with this loss. So he wrote this song about that situation. It's a sad song, but it's a nice song, so I hope you like it. The words are lovely. out to me, bathe me in the light of understanding, and try to help me to share the trouble you've got burning in you, and you can help me, and in our time together her memory will ever shine like golden embers in the night. Thank you. Golden Embers.
Good evening, Oban.
Good evening, Jim.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Really good. Oh, I'm all right.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. Anyway, okay. My job is to interview you tonight about the song that you're going to. It is a song, isn't it? That you're going to sing. Yeah, and I understand it's one of your own songs. So, perhaps if you could give an overview of how it came about and why you did it.
Yeah, it's about folk clubs. It was inspired by Carrington Triangle, loosely. And I suppose, really, it's just about how kind of encouraging and friendly folk clubs are, really. That's it, in essence. Got a couple of local references in there as well. Goose Fair Island and the Grosvenor pub as well.
Yeah.
So, hopefully people will know them.
Right. So it you felt so inspired that sort of you came away with music in your head and thought you'd put something together that really reflected on your experience, I suppose. Really.
Yeah, I was just driving home actually, and I was thinking about. It's on the pub. It's called the Gladstone Pub. That it's hosted in. That's on Losco Road, and I was just driving home after having been there one night, and I think Losco Road is Losco is quite a nice word, and I was just kind of singing it around in my head, and I thought, and I came up with the chorus on the way home.
Right. Often the case.
And then thought I'll put some words to the verse as well. So then just had a bit more of a think about what goes on at folk clubs, and tried to just condense all those lovely little bits and bobs down into a few verses.
Right. Yeah. It sounds very interesting. Okay, well, I'll sort of throw it over to you and the song.
Lovely. Well, lovely to speak to you, Jim, as well.
Yeah, same to you, and all the best. I hope everybody likes your song.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Past the Goose Fair Island and the Grosvenor on the left, to the old triangle where you can take a rest, up the stairs and into a warm and welcome room. Friendly smile will meet you there to sing a merry tune, singing at the Gladstone, singing on Losco Road, singing at the Gladstone, singing on Losco Road. Round and round the room we go, and round the years, singing songs of love and joy, and singing songs of fear. A tale or two will cheer you up and dry away the tears, but if that that does not work for you. The bar has lots of beer. Singing at the Gladstone, singing on Losco Road, singing at the Gladstone, singing on Losco Road. If you have a song to sing, there's room upon the floor. Friendly voices will join in from then on evermore. Singing at the Gladstone, singing on Losco Road, singing at the Gladstone, singing on Losco Road.
I'm going to sing Plaisir d'amour. This is a song written in the mid-1700s by Giovanni Martini. It was a classical song. But sometime later, someone, we don't know who, wrote some English words to it. And they just used the first part of the tune to the song. And as such, it has become part of the folk repertoire. So this is Plaisir d'amour.
Plaisir d'amour ne dure qu'un moment, chagrin d'amour dure toute la vie. The joys of love are but a moment long. The pain of love endures a whole life long.
Hello, and it's great to welcome some members of Higgs Boson with us today. Colin, do you want to kick off?
Yeah, well, I'd like to explore maybe with Les. It's a fairly unusual name for a folk group, and I foolishly thought at first you were all particle physicists. But where does the band come from, and where does the name come from, Les?
Well, the band grew in Radcliffe-on-Trent, really, and it grew out of the Trent Navigation Company, which is a shanty group, which Norman formed probably about 8 years ago now, I think. And amongst that group, there were a small core of instrumentalists who used to get together to rehearse the musical accompaniment for the shanties and other sea songs. And we discovered that we quite liked playing as a foursome and playing other kind of music in addition to the sea songs. And we needed a name because we were performing separately from Trent Navigation Company. And around that time, the Higgs boson particle was very much in the news because they discovered it existed. And it seemed to us that the name Higgs boson, if we changed the spelling of boson to B-O''S-U-N, kept that nautical tone to the name of the band. And so the band was born as Higgs boson. And it's been through a couple of changes since then in terms of personnel. We've lost Rob Watling. We've gained Will Walker on the fiddle and also David Martin on just about every other stringed instrument on the list.
Great, thanks for that.
That's wonderful. Okay. And Les, Norm, the number you're doing today, Cut and Cover, was fascinating. I looked it up, and all I could find reference to was some early method for tunnelling in railways, which I guess led to this. But tell us a bit more about the song.
Well, I'm fascinated by the history and archaeology of my hometown, which is London, as you can probably hear, and I just was interested in. I'm not a railway enthusiast, but I was interested in the development of an iconic part of London that people always think about, which is the Underground, and I knew that the early Underground, the first Underground in the world, which opened in January 1863, was built by digging up roads, laying a line, putting a roof over that and laying the road back on top, and that was called the cut and cover method. And I had like a little earworm going on in my head. I could make a song of this. So I did, and it was written very quickly. I've never written a song before in my life. This is the first one, and I wanted to get a musical vibe because I had that sort of thing. And at the time, Chaz and Dave had died, and I was kind of wanted an homage to him because they're like Cockney cheeky chappies, and that's how we came to the song. Yeah, Cut and Cover.
And a lively song it is. Shall we have a listen to it?
Yeah, let's.
Thanks very much, Les Norm, for joining us, and very much enjoyed you being here.
Pleasure.
Okay. Thanks.
Cut and cover a railway underground, from Paddington to Carrington, a plan that's safe and sound. Cut and cover, and we're the bully crew, to dig the pits and lay the lines to run the engines through. The teeming roads of London town were grinding to a stop. Carts and coaches clogging the streets are driving through the slop. Horses everywhere are doing what they must. You never know time just to breathe through all the stink and dust.
So someone had a cunning plan to make folk overjoyed. Under the streets to run the trains, the traffic to avoid. It can't be done, the cynics cried, this nonsense is not proven. We have to set the Londoners to get the city moving.
Cut and cover a railway underground, from Paddington to Carrington, a plan that's safe and sound. Cut and cover, and we're the bully crew, to dig the pits and lay the lines to run the engines through.
ambitious plan was hatched and money raised to put trains in the ground, and soon the project made its way in London eastward bound. They built under the busy streets, left houses where they stood, laying a 4-mile stretch of track they dug through clay and mud.
And who was called to make this wheel to form with spade and pick, with ironworks and girders, with mortar and with brick? They dug canals and laid the lines the railways for to run. The gangs of rough-hewn navvies, they knew it could get done. Cut and cover a railway underground, from Paddington to Barrington, a plan that's safe and sound. Cut and cover, and we're the bully crew, to dig the pits and lay the lines to run the engines through.
So it's thank you to the navvies who didn't slouch or jerk, driving tunnels underground to make the tube trains work. They overcame their hardships to make the system right, to keep the city moving all the day and half the night. Cut and cover a railway underground, from Paddington to Barrington, a plan that's safe and sound. Cut and cover, and we're the bully crew, to dig the pits and lay the lines to run the engines through. To dig the pits and lay the lines to run the engines through. Mind the gap!
Well, that's it. The end of another show.
It's hard to believe, isn't it? Hard to believe. And another great show.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though we say so ourselves, and you and Dave kicked it off, but we must thank Keith Hinchliffe for some fabulous music. Yeah. And there's a bit more to come. Don't rush off. You got another 5 or 6 minutes worth over the credits.
Yeah, and then Alisa.
Oh, lovely.
Wonderful.
Isn't it beautiful to be able to hear the harp playing that beautiful Carolan music, which almost, I guess, as it might have sounded when he was playing it himself.
Yeah. And then, of course, Higgs Bosun got us off to a romping end with Cut and Cover. Yeah.
Yeah, cracking song that, isn't it? Yeah,
yeah.
Really enjoyable. And who have we got next week?
Well, next week, Higgs Bosun are actually doing the doors open, so we'll get their music.
That'd be good.
Instrumental side. And then we've got Eric and Joy Foxley. Hopefully.
Okay. Yeah. We're never quite sure. Sure, are we?
And
from one week to the next.
They have been down the club, and we've had some very lively sessions with them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. They're great. We love them. We love them dearly. Okay, well that's it for this week then, Andy.
Yeah.
I'm off to catch the plane back. So I'll see you soon.
Okay.
Everybody out there.
Oh, thanks to all the performers this week, all our regulars.
Of course.
And also to you for joining us. It's been...
Yeah, thanks very much, everybody. We hope to see you next week.
Okay.
Please join us.
Bye.
Bye now.